My greetings to everybody. Today is the 13th of January 2015. My name is Yogini Rasa. I am yoga instructor of the International Open Yoga University, and this is lesson 8 on yoga for all those people who want to learn yoga from very basics and integrate all these things in their life. All the materials we have already had are available on the website yogaopenyoga.com. That's actually an online university for yogis, and there you can find the materials in a written form. You can find videos, you can find the tests to verify your knowledge, and many other things are coming and being updated every week. So you are welcome. If you are um, willing to study, we will be happy to receive your application or just a notice that you are coming to the email address yogaopenyoga@gmail.com. And we base all our new information on the one that we have had before. So you are welcome to see our previous 7 lessons where we have already discussed some basic information on the studies at the university, what is yoga, the lifestyle of ancient yogis, kinds of yoga, and now we are on the topic of Hatha yoga. Last time it was the first part on this topic, and we discussed many interesting things like the origin of this teaching that is called Hatha Yoga. We looked in the treatise of Hatha Yoga and saw the methods how we do or practice Hatha Yoga. We also discussed some information on poses and searching for our inner feelings, trying to be more patient with ourselves and find the harmonious way in the practicing. And this was the minimum theoretical background that is very advised to have for you to improve your skills and also to start doing Hatha Yoga, or let's say before you start. Then now we will face more practical questions, more practical approaches, thereby take your yoga diaries or your notebooks, have your pen ready because there will be a lot of useful information. Like usual, there will be materials available in a written form for you to read once again. Some information is not going to be doubled, so it is highly advised to see both the text material and the video material, and after that you can pass the test on this topic. So good luck, but of course there is no external judges except the system that will check the correct answers of the multiple choices. But the main thing that we all are willing is to open up our inner teacher and to help ourselves in our development in this area. So we started, we know some basic theory, and now we can make the next important step. So you remember that yoga is the system of self-exploration and exploring of the universe. And this system harmoniously observes the first and the second principle. The freedom is the key factor in yoga, but of course the reverse side of every freedom is our duty or responsibility. Because for us to be here, we owe to many people, and it would not be very nice if we would say, well, I don't care that they did something good to me. That's what they wanted. That's their free will. That they limited their freedom. I'm free. I can go on. Unfortunately, this freedom of this person will be very much restricted very soon. and thereby there are a lot of useful things to think about. But yoga is not something old, even though it's a very ancient system, or I would say old-fashioned. Yoga is a very live system, and it's suitable, or it feels good in any kind of society, in any time. So the only problem today is that even though yoga is highly popular, uh, a lot of people know what is yoga. A lot of people have been to at least one yoga class. The popularity doesn't mean yet that we are very well informed or we have the basic knowledge of this system. Thereby, these courses are intended for this reason, for us to have the basic knowledge, to find the external teachers, and that would bring us, as the result, to our inner teacher who will guide us through the many interesting things. And one of the basic methods that stands for about, let's say, 80–95% in the world is Hatha Yoga. And this is the yoga of static physical exercises. And all of this yoga was created to help people to go through the difficult life conditions, to compensate some lack of movement, and also to get ready for the meditation, or to get our body ready for the static position that could take, let's say, several hours. Thereby, we need to train our body, and we have to train our mind to concentrate on what we want them to do. And they're very good partners if we are doing this nicely without the violence and without the harm. Of course, it doesn't mean that there will be no effort, there will be no difficulties, and we all have to pass through the certain period of difficult times, but nothing is impossible, and yoga is actually made for normal, ordinary people. It's not for some exceptional people. But for the system to open up for you, you have to follow the two basic principles, and those are the principle of no harm, or the first yoga principle that says that we should not harm any living being, or do the maximum that we can in non-harming. But if it's impossible, as the yoga is quite realistic, then we have to minimize this harm and follow our duty. So we have this responsibility regarding other living beings. And then there is the second yoga principle, or the principle of common sense, or the logic, that says that we should define our goals and then we should go for them without wasting our time, energy, attention on anything that is not leading to these goals. So these are the principles that you should know by heart. And unless the system of self-exploration and exploring of the universe is not following both of these principles, it is not regarded yoga. Somebody would say, well, I'm so nice person, such a nice person that I try not harming anybody. But I'm not very effective. I'm just going with the flow and being nice, chilling out, having some much fun, and maybe doing something good. But more or less, it's some egoistic ways of living. Then this will not going to be yoga. Also, if you're a very, very effective person, if you find all the possible ways to reach your goals, but you forget about non-harming principle, then also it's not going to be yoga. The same thing with Hatha Yoga. What people usually see is some very complicated, twisted, reversed positions that people don't really look happy in, but it doesn't matter how it looks from the outside. The fact that is important is how the person feels, and are there internal feelings guiding this person towards more harmonious way. So what you see even in a yoga studio at the same time can be yoga, hatha yoga, and it might not be hatha yoga. It might be a simple gymnastics or aerobics or I don't know, some flexibility show. But anyway, for something to be yoga and hatha yoga, you need to follow the first two principles. So that's essential, and that's what you should remember. And actually, we have to say that yoga is something that we already have because it's already in our structure, in our body, in our bodies, the ways that we are created. And we will come to this naturally. Somebody sooner, somebody later. But we have been given a great gift, the knowledge of yoga, that we are trying to preserve. And this considerably removes the obstacles or the barriers on our way to the final self-exploring and exploring of the universe. And this is very nice from those who have given us the gift. However, we don't know the authors of the system, like we would say, name John Smith or I don't know, whatever, who is responsible for that, because the system is very ancient, and the people also the knowledge was given verbally, and the people who were the teachers of the system didn't regard it as the polite form to put their names everywhere. Like, this is my system, I created it, because they thought that this is something from a different, uh, different kind of area, and there are some different rules applied, and they try to make this more and more comprehensible, understandable for the people who are here. Yes, I hope I'm not twisting your minds. The thing is that we have it, it's a gift, and we should appreciate it as much as we can, and not trying to put everywhere our names that we have invented it. It has survived through a long time. However, we have lost quite a lot of parts, but the Hatha Yoga is probably one of those kinds that has survived the best because it's the more probably down to earth. And we all have a physical body. We all want to have them nice, healthy, and fit. Where if we start feeling that something is aching, we say, oh, okay, I need to do some workout. I need to help myself. And yoga here can be very beneficial. So, and we really can use the methods of Hatha Yoga to make our life better. And we also last time talked about the two methods, the method of energy and the method of consciousness, that we will come again here too. And this method you will come in contact with anytime we will talk about yoga, because by combining these two methods and finding the harmony and forcing ourselves somewhere letting it go, doing whatever we can, and then letting the universe kind of respond to us, we can reach this harmony and very, very good results. And we really need those both principles as well as the both methods to speed up the development. And actually, you are very happy people, having a very good karma um, to know this, because even 200 years ago, and not talking about the more ancient times, you had to be among the best of the best to even hear the word yoga. It was highly secret, top secret area that not many people were aware about. And this was passed only to the very trustworthy people. Thereby, um, yes, when we see the people, the images of the Hatha Yoga, we see something very complicated. Uh, and I myself was very much confused with what's the system is all about, because I thought, oh, they are making such positions or poses or asanas that normal people is not able to do. And a lot of people feel afraid. They feel the fear that they will be tortured, or they are just not coping with these high standards of Hatha Yoga. And this is actually keeping people away from practicing or getting even involved in Hatha Yoga. But if you are here for lesson number 8, and if you are interested in Hatha Yoga, then I really hope that you understand that this is only the misunderstanding, that we have to be very flexible to do yoga. This all will come with the course of the time and to extent that you need. But whatever pose you choose, there is benefits, even if it looks very simple. You could lay on your belly, bend your knees, and try to touch the ankles with your hands. And stay in this position for some time. Just laying there, no force, no like trying to put your legs up or like lifting your shoulders. No, just stay in this position and try to follow how you feel. And this position will give you far more benefits than trying to put your foot against the ear or a head or whatever. Thereby, yes, don't be afraid. Go from the very beginning, and there will be some more regarding this later on today. And yes, let your body to get adjusted, to start trusting you, and kind of get back to feeling yourself. Because when we a lot of times refuse to listen to our body, uh, we kind of stop hearing the body. Like the body would be as our companion, and we would say, shut up. Or if we don't like something, shut up again, or the one pill or the other pill, shut up. And the body is like, okay. And the voice is coming lower, lower. And when we really would need to hear it, because our companion is a good companion and talking with us only when we invite the companion for the discussion, and then you invite and then you say, stop talking, I'm not listening, or you pretend that it does not exist, or you are punishing all the time your wonderful companion for being such a good helper or being with you there, so that yes, your companion will probably be at certain extent very disappointed that about your behavior. So and the change is gradual, and it happens like we go from this physical level to the more fine levels. and it's very, very interesting how it happens gradually. And we get stronger, and by moving, there are certain flows that change their directions, that improve our well-being, and we start feeling better. And we get to know our companion better, and we say, okay, tell me more about me, and let's play. Let's be like kids. Because when you see the kids playing, especially the smallest ones, the toddlers, they kind of grab their foot, then they explore it, take a look here, and they play and they have fun. They experiment. They make the most amazing poses. And as we already mentioned, there is an enormous amount of hatha yoga poses, even though we use about 30, 40 of them. Usually yogi instructors learn about 70 or 80 that are the most suitable ones for our conditions. But you yourself will find your variation of the pose. You will find your own poses. And even if somebody from the outside would say, oh, it's not hatha yoga, for you it's yoga. If you find the harmony in them, if there is the method of energy, if there is method of consciousness, and you experiment, you get to know yourself. Um, Fantastic. You are doing a great job, and you are far more better yogi than those ones who are like sweating like in a fitness or gym and pretending to themselves. Actually, they're lying to themselves that they are fantastic yogis just because they can hold some position or they can flex more, and then their partner, their body, is just keeping more and more silent, bringing them into more suffering in the future, because short-term violence to your body might give a result. A lot of athletes are really striving for the result. The only result in yoga, or only point that we would assess from the outside, or you would assess, is the regularity of practicing yoga. If you practice yoga regularly, then this is your point of success. And the fact that you like it, you enjoy it. Of course, you are not just laying down and saying, well, I'm on the yoga mat, so that's why it's yoga. But you are working with yourself, you are exploring yourself. At some point, you relax and enjoy some uh, mom's methods pose. Then you would go this in the same pose with the dad's or the consciousness method. Thereby, it's very exciting actually, and we shouldn't really hold to those ideas, impressions, and images that are keeping us away. But um, some people really don't feel very good in a yoga class because they find that they think, and probably at some point it's true, that they find that other people are looking them. They think that people are judging them, or that they look ridiculous, or they are ashamed of themselves. I know quite many people that had to overcome a lot of fear just to show up for the yoga class. And I have heard some very sad stories of those people who have received some negative comments from the yoga instructor or the person who is calling themselves yoga instructors. um, that's actually very ridiculous, because how somebody from the outside might evaluate you. But while you are on the yoga mat, and you, even when you are in a group, you don't go for competing with others. That's just the work with yourself. And there might be a time when you want to look around, but if this is a good yoga instructor, good yoga teacher, and this atmosphere of the yoga class is good, then you should quite fast be getting in a mood that you are working only with yourself, and it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Even if somebody there is trying to strive for some results, some records to kind of put a tick, yes, I did it. Um, let them do what they want to do. It doesn't matter what they think. Uh, it's as long as you are feeling good, and there's no reason for you to feel bad whenever you are on the yoga mat. Yoga is simple, and those poses really don't have to be difficult, and you should enjoy what you are doing. Mm. And I say yoga is simple, and then you say, well, I saw a book uh, like this, just on one pose, or let's say 8 poses, and you say yoga is simple, and you get your brain twisted just by reading it, not even being able to get in a pose, then you might know from the last lesson that yoga poses, the description of yoga poses was in 3-4 lines. And last time we were reading, I guess 1 or 2 of them, that is very approximate description how to do this pose and what's the benefits of this pose. But if yoga is so simple, how will they sell it? How will they make it a commercial success? People are not going to buy things that are so simple. You say yoga is just 2 methods, the method of harmony, and you keep on repeating and repeating and repeating. I know it. But do you really know it in the way that you have experience in it and that you can follow it, or it will take some time, years or even more, to get to the notion what's the harmony and how should we feel in one or the other position, and thereby to make money people make a lot of complicated details. They give you the instructions how to turn your body to the directions of the let's say to the south and north and west and east. What moon should there be? What kind of practice should you do before? How you should prepare the room you are in. And all this simply just you say, okay, this moon day passed, so I have to wait 1 more month. Then you would say, oh, today I'm not feeling well, so I'm waiting again. I'm not able to get the perfect room or the perfect location for my yoga mat. Then I don't have this statue made of some special stone from Himalaya or India. So no, I'm not doing it just because there is a whole list that you should fulfill to do it. I guess it's a good thing, or good intentions were made by writing that. If it's not was not for business, when at the end of the book they say you can order the yoga set um, from there and there, and there's the website address, and it costs an enormous amount of money just for you to start, then this is complete nonsense. It has no common sense, and we have the second yoga principle that says that we should have the common sense. And in yoga, actually, the practice or the time you devote for the practicing is the one that matters. Thereby, you start where you can. Write down, I start now, and I can do this or I will be working here with this pose, thereby, okay, I don't have this and I don't have that, but you start doing it because there is the saying in yoga that says, write down, if you are practicing yoga, then time is your friend. If not, then the time is your enemy. The more you postpone, the more excuses you find not to do it, the worse your situation might be. And there will be much more time necessary for you to kind of go back to the situations. Because there was a story of two people, uh, and both of them started at the same time, at the same place, about the same level, in by many different aspects. And one of them said, "Okay, now I have to earn to build my yoga ashram or yoga home, where everything would be laid like it's prescribed somewhere. But so and now I have to just work and to have it done, to have a beautiful garden, to have the waterfalls, the fountains, to have those expensive statues and stuff like that. I just have to have all the best." And the other person would say, "Okay, well, I don't have it, but I will just simply start practicing." In 20 years, this person really built a beautiful house where everything seemed to be perfect for yoga. But for some reason, this person didn't have the willingness to do whatever yoga whatsoever. Because for coming to this goal, so many rules were violated and so much time was lost. While the other person probably was not living in so luxurious conditions, but was far more happy and practicing yoga every day and becoming a great person. So thereby think, do you really have to go to India to find the best master, or you should start your yoga practice right away and probably improve your structures and to find that there are a lot of wise people around you that you will never notice if you don't practice. Because a lot of experience, a lot of notion, a lot of understanding really comes with the practice. Um, there are senses inside us, and in order to understand some things, we have to work through these senses. That's why we have them, and they are close related to the principles, uh, basic principles uh, of our human nature. But that's much deeper area that we are not going to do and go today. So yes, just be active, find the usual normal routine activities. And the surprising fact is that they can give the wonderful results. Some say, okay, if yogis can do fantastic things, they can walk on the water, or they can consume some, they can eat glass, or they can walk on the coal, or they can move in a space and time. Well, supreme and super abilities, superpowers, like we see the flying Supermans, and so on and so forth, then probably those activities or the practice should also be something magical. Something magic, something wow, like you would not expect from ordinary activities to be giving the magic results. They are magic only from our point of view. However, by doing simple activities, by practicing simple Hatha Yoga poses, doing it regularly, observing the method of harmony, we can reach these superpowers that we find as the superpowers from our point of view. And they're very usual, and probably your practice would improve if you would sit with your looking at the sunset or sunrise. But if it's impossible, for example, there is a place on earth where 6 months it's very light and for 6 months it's dark, and you don't see the sun for 6 months. But you just do yoga. You just practice depending on your conditions, where you are, where you live. Then this hard work that you are doing is giving the fantastic results. And one of the most fantastic results is that you start understanding yourself. You start understanding this law of cause and consequences, and you are improving your life quality. You are improving a lot of things and improving the lives of people around you. That is not less important, but we will come to that later on. And yes, Hatha Yoga lets us to reach this kind of magic. And yes, you don't need something supernatural, or you don't need somebody to fly down to you and say, yes, you have been chosen. You don't have to wait for your angel to come. You just have to be the angel for yourself, and you have to build your future, because your future starts today. Each activity that you have done in the past are bringing you here and now, and whatever you're doing now is kind of forming the future you are going to have. Thereby, it matters that you are practicing, and it really matters how you do it. It doesn't matter when it comes later on, what and so on, but that you observe this method of harmony, and you just go on and you succeed. You get to know yourself. And then you would say, okay, prove it. And I would say, do you know why yoga is so popular today? And it's so ancient, and it's still living, just because it's giving a result. And usually we notice the first result quite soon. And it's important to notice it. That's why I'm all the time remembering, write down, have your yoga diary, have your notebook, where you can write down that this is this, and this is that, and this happened then and then. So just have this logical chain, the logical reactions, so that you don't miss important points. Our mind is very tricky. At some point it can't really, at this point it can't process a very large or keep in mind everything. And yes, we are getting lost. We said, okay, I started the new year. I want to practice yoga, and then you kind of you get lost. You want to see with a friend, so you missed the class. You talked with your friend. You just forgot about the class. You have too much work to do. You are too tired. The kids were too noisy, and you kind of go, possible directions, and forget your vector where you wanted to go. This is what you should remember, and that's why also yoga suits for the modern lifestyle. In many ways, we are very much like the ancient yogis. They had to kind of compensate their lack of movement, and thereby they had the Hatha yoga and Kriya yoga, and they did it for themselves. So And if we have some lack, we can use yoga to replace it and get very fast results. Yoga gives nothing, or I would say yoga gives fantastic results, but yoga as such is not giving us anything extra, not bringing anything new. It is just discovering what we already have. Mm. And think about it or write it down that yoga is not giving us anything. It just allows us to discover what we already have. And when we are start practicing, we have different kind of movements and different kind of things happen in our body. We get more fit, we get more healthy, we feel better, we have more energy. And if you, and it's also not only the physical health, your psychological health is good. You are more cheerful, joyful, you're more positive, stuff like this. That you are like, oh yes, I'm ready to do the next thing. And it matters. It really matters. And at the same time, we have to remember that yoga is not replacing the medicine. If you have the problem in this area of health, first you go and see the doctor. And of course, sometimes people, when they are kind of in a dead end, and the doctors say that there's nothing they can help, that they are running to different directions trying to find help. And sometimes yoga is giving the help that nobody else could. But more or less, it's just starting to feel yourself, exploring yourself, and feeling which way you have to go. It's like the mom of a small child, and child is not able to talk. All the discomfort or problems that the child has are expressed by crying. And mom will right away notice whether it's the wet diaper, whether something hurts, whether it's too cold, is it too hot, or there's just need for the baby to have a hug. And this is also how we should kind of get to know ourselves. And yes, if you want to, if the exams are approaching and you are all the time sitting near the books and you're like, okay, this was that law number 2, 3, 4. Yes, the comments. There was this person and that. And at some point, your body starts aching, and but your head is so full, uh, and stress is there that actually, if you do certain poses or if you focus for some time away from the books onto your body, you find that, oh, I need some water. I would need some, let's say, fruit or a vegetable. I really should need some fresh air and some exercising. And then you start understanding that the brain works better. So it is very good to know. And what else is important, that yoga opens up your creativity. You get extra energy, and this extra energy is transformed in the creativeness. Some people write poems, some people start drawing, some people like the music. Uh, it's very interesting, whatever they do, but you will notice these people. You will notice them right away because um, they are like a light. They are very light people, and they're shining and they're positive. And other people's are like uh, they are like magnets, and people are just getting closer and closer to them and enjoy the presence of them. Yes, and this will charge your batteries. So it's a good thing to do. So a lot of good things to said. So getting down to the practice. And a lot of people would say, okay, I start yoga. What do I have to know? Really down to earth stuff. How much theory I have to know. Actually, this is if you know something about the method of energy and method of consciousness and the method of harmony, then probably this is all you have to do. And non-violence. To start working with yourself. Because your body will tell you, your senses will tell you, you will train yourself. This teach the body will become your companion, your good partner in good and bad, um, and you will really succeed in this. And yes, the living theory and the other things will open up. Of course, you may have no theory at all. A lot of people have no theory at all, but it means that you will have to waste some time. You will have to make some mistakes on your way in yoga, um, and you can save them, not to make them. And this is really a philosophy where you need minimum theory just to get down to practice. Um, it is good thing to start yoga in a group with a good instructor. The problem here is the word good instructor, because as I said, a lot of instructors go in a class, and instead of focusing on their group, on the people who come to their class, they more focus on how they look there and how well they can do the poses, if it's the best method, and if you are far ahead of others. But they are wonderful teachers, and keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and to find out about the good teachers and instructors in your area, and they will be very helpful to improve your practice. And at first, really, it's advised to start in a group, and then you can gradually go to the individual practice at home. Because yes, you have to feel this inner harmony there. There should be no stress, because it's enough stress outside. Um, you should feel calm there. You should feel safe. You should feel good, and focus on inner things that are happening. Thereby, it's important. Don't work for anybody except yourself, and for you in yoga, of course. And never work on public. I mean, in a way, not don't work for the audience. Uh, People around you in a yoga class, it's very beneficial. The results might be faster, will be faster and stronger, but to bring this vector direction, you have to kind of start working, and keep on working on your own. Thereby concentrate on yourself and not on the other things or people. Okay? It, they are doing their work and you are doing your work. Don't compare, because it tells nothing. The one how flexible somebody is or how strong it is just external factor. And sometimes, even if it looks the person very strong and very yogi, they might be much more further from yoga than you are. And you know that everybody can practice yoga. It's for normal people, and we all are similar. We have our physical bodies, thereby we use similar poses, and it doesn't give the strict rules you have to follow, just the first and the second principle that you might find useful to apply. But keep to the feeling. It doesn't matter that what's your religion is, because yoga is not a religion. Yoga is not for certain nationality. It means that you don't have to keep to a certain lifestyle or to keep on certain clothing. Some people say, okay, if I start doing yoga, it means that I have to stay alone, no family, no sex, no women or men. I have to leave my country. I have to dress like a Hindu. I have to eat their food, and so on and so forth. And this are so many stereotypes. But only thing you have to do is to lay on the mat and practice. And then if you feel that yes, there's some place of power or there's something that is very important, you go for it. But also be like reasonable. Use your common sense, please, because a lot of people are just wasting or finding excuses actually to do nothing just by saying, I don't have this and that, so I can't practice. There are a lot of difficult conditions in life, but people find the possibility to do things. So, and then we come to the thing, what do you really need for yoga? If you have yourself, you are there, what you need. Actually, what you need is a flat surface. That's it. Expected, I will say you need a yoga mat. It's useful, a good thing to have, but the first thing is flat surface, a small place where you can lay down. That would be about, or if you can stretch your hands on the whites, that would be wonderful, but it can be even smaller. Um, but yes, and you'll find the nice yoga mat for yourself that suits you. In ancient times, yogis were traveling around. They couldn't really carry much stuff with them. So they would just find a nice place to practice. And some people advise to have cocoa mattress or the mat. Uh, if you want it. Yes, we have a lot of variety of the yoga mats around, so we have more comfortable probably situation now. How about clothes? Yogis had just the clothes around their waistline. Now the shops are full with the comfortable clothes that are very good and useful for you. So uh, take what you like so that you feel comfortable. The more natural is the clothes, the better. The better your skin will breathe. And some people would practice without clothes in ancient times. Some treatises have written about that. If you find it interesting and if you find it necessary for some your practice, do it. Some now I know have heard that naked yoga or nude yoga is very popular in the United States. If it's for yoga, then go for it. If it's for showing off, then don't do it. Okay, then you need to stay alone. If it's your individual practice, it's you need to stay alone. Ensure that nobody is going to disturb you during this time and that you can stay alone and that you can be on your own. Don't talk. Uh, Keep silence or turn on some nice music. The ancient yogis didn't have really the music, but we do, and if it helps, at least in the very beginning, then use it. This area that you are using, you try to make it beautiful. But it's additional factors. It's not that necessary, but it's good. Try to do it at the same time, at the same place, because this place is becoming like a magnet for you. And if you spend certain time there, you will feel like even when you start approaching this place, it will make you calmer, more relaxed, more focused, and It's the strength, it's the power. And when you are in a class, don't talk. Don't switch off everything you can, because anything that will happen around, and especially the noise, more than the visual aspects that will bring your attention away, is the noise. Imagine somebody talking about, or imagine the surgeon who is making a surgery and there are kids running around, somebody shouting, somebody is trying to get the surgeon into a conversation. And so, um, what's the result going to be? If it's socializing, then do it somewhere else. Don't call it yoga. But if it's yoga, then focus. And socializing is before and after um, a good possibility, because you should socialize with people who have similar interests, like-minded people. Go for it, but not during the yoga class. Um, so, and try to avoid unpleasant smells. If you want to use the aroma fragrances, frankincense, or something like that, please take care that they are natural. Natural ingredients are expensive, 2, 3, or 4 times more expensive. And it's good to have a fresh air in the room. So if it helps you to be in the mood and it's not violating the interests of others, uh, yes, mostly your own interest of your health and well-being, because this will bring the harmony to the place where you are, and this will give a certain balance to it. So, and if it's possible, go outside. Follow the temperature. It's not a good reason just going out in a cold weather and just to get sick. This will keep you away from the regular practice, but yes, go outside if possible. This will improve your results 2 or 3 times. So, and the best things time to go out or start yoga practice is in the spring and autumn. But if it's the winter, then we go, and you know the information, then just start practicing. Just be there and go it. Um, yes, the beginning. As I said, the best thing is to start in a group. You kind of start feeling, getting the notion of it, to be able to later go on for yourself. If we speak about the frequency, then it shows that the best, uh, not the best, there's no use if you do it once a week. The minimum time is twice a week, because if you do it once a week, your body forgets about what you did, and you kind of start learning everything from the beginning, and it's more of the stress rather than the benefits. And the class for your time for yoga could be starting from 30 minutes up to 90 minutes. That's the average. Sometimes those will be 5 minutes when you have no strength. When you have started doing it regularly, from time to time you will want to immerse in the yoga practice, and those could be several hours or several days. You might go on retreats where everything is kind of made for yoga, but this comes with the time. You will find your own path. Don't really try to follow somebody else's instructions, and yes, and feel this difference between letting go and putting some effort in, and finding the balance between these two methods. And even when you kind of catch the first notion of them, you will feel it, and you will kind of feel this impact. There is the practice itself, while there is the beginning or the pre-practice or the foreplay, and then what's happening after the practice. Like for the ladies and the men, the foreplay is important. Without it, sex seems to be quite of just some rhythmical movements, and you need some time to get in the mood. The same with yoga. Um, First, when you come to the class, it's advised to have this sitting position, either like this, or you might sit also like this. The main thing here is you have the straight spine and neck and head, so it's on a one straight line. That's important. That's the thing that all treatises talk about. And you kind of remove the tension in the body. You say, Ma, that you relax. Uh, and the tension, the most, you would work well on relaxing the feet, relaxing the back and hand and the chest. But what you see usually is the face. You are so into the relaxing everything that your face is like, ooh, yes, a lot of effort. And here you put the method of energy and you relax the face. You should kind of release everything and release the thoughts and all the problems. Beforehand, you remember what dream you had and let it go. You remember what you had during the day and you let it go. And then you kind of look what you have to do today and you let it go. Just for the time of the practice, nothing would disturb your attention. And at the very end, there is the Shavasana, the resting pose, very important. You lay down and you again try to relax everything, kind of. Um, this is your time for your structures to kind of um, to balance what you have done, and you don't run away from the yoga class, but you really stay there. A friend of mine came to me and asked, well, you are doing yoga. Why do those people lay there for so long? Are those yoga instructors lazy that they would not give the 10 minutes extra for exercising? I'm like, I'm ready to move and I want to do it. And all those 10 minutes, my head is like getting back to what I have to do or what was done or thinking over what's happening in my life. Then this is where you have to let your head, your thoughts, to release them. Don't focus on them as much as you can do it. And this relaxing is really necessary. It's not the laziness of yoga instructors. It's not kind of wasting your time. It's making your work more effective. But yes, for the busy people, for people for whom time is money, and to make maximum effectiveness out of everything, this might seem a bit unusual. But we can't run and run. We are not the Duracell batteries. And even though they are getting discharged, getting empty, and so we need to charge it. And this is kind of charging. Um, and then it's also important whether it's a morning practice and whether it's the evening practice. Um, also in between the exercises, I said the resting before and after, and then there is resting in between the poses. In the morning, when you try to wake up the structures, the poses are more gentle, but you would probably not make the bigger pauses because you are already very sleepy. You would kind of try to energize your body, but doing it very gentle. In the evening, when you have to kind of release the stress, relieve it, And when you have rest, getting ready for the sleep, then it's a good thing between the poses to have this resting time. It can be a minute or two, or depends on you. So thereby, it's a good thing to go to the yoga class with the instructor. Probably try several studios, several instructors, um, and to find the one you like the best. Sometimes I hear from the yoga instructors, from my colleagues, that people are requesting uh, power yoga. There are different kinds of yoga, and there are more relaxing, more gentle yoga, yoga for back, and then there is power yoga, and that people just can't relax. That's the problem. We have problem to relax, but adjusting with the more power, putting even more stress, um, might cause harm in the future. And it takes a lot of explaining for the yoga instructors why they are doing what they are doing and why you really need to relax rather than putting some extra efforts. If you just want to push your muscles, there is a gym. Yoga is more like getting to your inner structures and getting to know yourself. And if your work is tense and you really hope that like more energetic movements will help you, then there's running, gymnastics, jogging, and many, many other things, aerobics and body bikes and Zumba and dancing. Then through yoga, you can become more masculine or have more muscles and more feminine and also more muscles, but it's not really the aim or the goal of yoga. So balancing, also yoga instructors have to balance these things. And even if the yoga instructor is telling you should do this and you should do that, you should go there for relaxing and then their effort, it takes quite a lot of time to understand. And at the very beginning, it might not be yoga because any pose, when I am in any pose, like in this one, this is one of the yoga poses. I'm here for a little bit more than an hour. I'm changing my position from time to time, but still, it's still. But at this time, I'm not really concentrating on my inner feelings in this pose. Um, so I would not regard this pose at this time as yoga. But if I would stay quiet for a moment, close my eyes, concentrate on myself, then this would turn into yoga. Thereby, any pose can be yoga and not. So, if we apply those two methods and find the harmony inside, it's yoga. If we don't, then not. Okay, and if you are ready for your own yoga time, you would usually choose about 7 poses. It's, it would be like for an hour of practice or 40 minutes. And then you would stay on these poses for a week. So if you practice daily or almost daily or 3 times a week, you go for these poses and don't switch to new ones for that week. Because sometimes we just take a position, oh, I am in the position, it's good, next one, and the next one, and next one, and then, oh, I passed all the poses, I know yoga completely. But you need to accumulate the time in the certain poses. And it's like a keys or switches, like the codes for your body inner structures for you to discover the internal inside treasures. It takes time, it takes practice, and you should be patient. And trust yourself, even though the yoga instructor is there, thereby probably we suppose this person is well trained and finds the yoga as a very important aspect of the life. But don't see them as the gods. Um, they sometimes themselves see as the gods because they call themselves yoga teachers. And sometimes they say, oh, you are wrong. Do this like that. And now stretch this more and turn this angle by 2 degrees. And you're like, what? You're completely confused with, oh, if this person knows, then yes, probably they know so many details that they know so many muscles, they must be really experienced. The more simple things are, at least in the very beginning, it doesn't mean that the yoga instructor is shallow, but the more they can speak in your language, the better. So it's the task to find a good yoga instructor. And remember, 2 methods and the method of harmony. That's the basic principle. And the main thing is to practice. So you find your 7 poses, you practice for this week until the next time. And if you have any questions regarding this lesson, please email me to yogaopenyoga@gmail.com. And we will be happy to see your thumbs up for the YouTube or your shares and likes for Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Bye bye.